am staying away from him. No, because I do enjoy them. I have another drink every time I say it, so let's empty some bookshelves. I just don't even know where to start. I cannot believe how many books there are. Again, a bunch of crap. Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing something that I'm a little bit embarrassed about, but it is well overdue, and that is, drumroll please, my bookshelf reorganization video. I haven't done one of these in about a year now, and I feel like it's very much time to reorganize my bookshelves. Because I have some pretty steep reading goals this year. I want to read 50 books, and for context, last year I read 28. The year before I read 49. So I feel like 50 is achievable. In order for me to actually reach that goal, I need to have really welcoming bookshelves where I want to come in and select a book and romanticize the whole reading experience again, because I feel like last year I got into a bit of a reading slump. It took me a really long time to get out of it, but I feel like I'm finally out on the other side. We're just setting ourselves up for success. As always, grab yourselves a fun little beverage. I have an iced almond latte today, which is my go-to iced coffee order. I either do an iced almond latte or I do an almond cappuccino because the little chocolate on top makes it, but I only get those in the cooler months, and then I get an iced version in summer, and it's doing wonders. I'm really enjoying it. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to show you what I'm most embarrassed about, and we're gonna make some really good progress today. I have a really good feeling. These are my beautiful bookshelves. I got these last year, I believe, or it would have either been last year or the year before, and I do love them. They do bow a little bit, but so far they're holding strong, and that's all we can ask. Essentially how I've organized them at this point, which completely needs to be revamped, but I thought I'd give you an idea of how I've organized them so that when we reorganize them, hopefully it makes a bit more sense. These are all my TBRs, so the books that I have not read yet on this shelf here, and I don't like them up here. It's not hard to reach them. I'm not that short, but it's not convenient. That's my thoughts anyway. Then we have my Sarah J Maas shelf. I feel like because I've read most of them, they can probably go up higher. I then have a few bits of fantasy, and then that is when it starts to get a little bit crazy. I've been using it as a bit of a dumping ground, which I'm not proud of, but I digress. We're gonna do better in 2026. This shelf here is a lot of my other fantasy books, and then here we have I call them like my nostalgic reads, like this Shiver and Linger series. I think there's a third book in it, but it was one of the first supernatural reads that I read when I was a teenager. I distinctly remember there being a werewolf vampire trend going on when I was first getting into reading as a teenager, and this series had a chokehold on me. I loved it, and I do want to reread them at some point just to see how cringy they are, but they were one of my favorite series. I also have two of the John Green classics. I've got Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars. Paper Towns is a great read. I do want to get Looking for Alaska as well, because that book changed me as a kid. And then another cult classic from the millennial readers, this one, Hush Hush. There's a few books, there's 4 books in the series, and it's about archangels, I think, and fallen angels. Yeah, about fallen angels. And I was obsessed with the male main character in this, Patch. Just like that typical bad boy that your parent is like, you need to stay away from him. And you're like, I am staying away from him. It was so good, I loved it. Then we have board games. These need to go. A bunch of colouring and crafting supplies, then a bunch of books that I was thinking of throwing out or giving away. And then up here I have my romances. So I've got all my Elsie Silver, I have my Ashley Poston, and then I have a bunch of others like Taylor Jenkins Reid and a few other favourites on this shelf. I then have my Emily Henry, and I think I had my Magnolia Park series here, but they're all somewhere else at the moment, because I did a bit of a 2025 reading wrapped, so I'll link that video if you want to see it. It was so much fun to film, but most of my books came off the bookshelf. Again, a bunch of crap, and then random standalone books as well. I think the plan is, and the only other category we have, this little section here, which are all my books from 2025, and then I also have a big pile of books over there, books that I wanted to read, so I like placed around the house thinking, I'll just pick that up one day and start reading it. I didn't. I want all of my books to be on my bookshelf, and every book on my TBR to be on my TBR shelf, and I think that's going to help me. It's going to help me want to actually pick up those books and not just like think that they're part of the furniture, because they're not. They're books and they deserve to be read, so they're going to go on my TBR. Let's empty some bookshelves. Where am I going to put them? Maybe just on the floor? God, it's so hot. What the heck? believe how many books there are. I'm getting overwhelmed. Look at the sheer quantity of those books. That's a beautiful sight, to be honest. And I've got more to add too. Hang on. Also, don't look at my feet. They will actually fit, which is good. I've just got to decide how I want to organize them because I wasn't in love with how I did it last time. So let's do it together. I think TBR shelf needs to go first. I'm kind of in two minds because if I put it like in a random eye level shelf, whatever goes above or below it will look weird. I also bought Hamnet because we're going to go see the movie tonight, and I started reading it on my Kindle, and I do really want to read it. I do want to read more classics this year, so that's definitely something on my TBR. But as you'll see, I have many books on my TBR. The real goal is just to read a few books from my TBR, you know, and focus on that. I almost think Sarah J Maas should be done first because that's like a full shelf, and at least then I know that's done, and I feel like Sarah J Maas should be on this shelf or this shelf. So let's do that first. I can't even tell you how much I'm sweating right now, it's disgusting. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I just don't even know where to start. Maybe Carissa Broadbent should go next. My fourth wing books should probably go next as well. Okay, we're making money moves. These are my random fantasies. So I have things like The Hunger Games, a random book called The Binding that I really enjoy. If you haven't read that, you should try to find it. It's a really good book. It's kind of like magical realism, I would say. And it's kind of historical magical realism, which is actually one of my favorite genres. I really enjoy books like that. Maybe they can go there. This one, I never finished. I should finish it because it's part of the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I just got a bit bored by it, to be honest. I was like, okay, where's this going? Even though I got halfway through. Anyway, can't win them all. This one is such a cool special edition that I have. It's the Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and it's got like such a fun sprayed edge on it. So maybe that should go out. We're here to make decisions. That's what we're doing today. I'm just very confused where all my books have gone. Okay, we found Iron Flame, guys. Everyone stop panicking. We found it. Onyx Storm? I'm doing it. I'm giving up on Onyx Storm. So wherever you are, Onyx Storm, love to see it. That's looking good. I almost feel like my magical realism book should go in a separate spot. And then I can do romance, and then TBR, and then I can do thriller and random other classics and things like that in the bottom two shelves. So I've got all my Sally Rooney and my Taylor Jenkins Reid. Needs to go somewhere. My Carly Fortune books need to go somewhere, which I'm missing one. What am I missing from Carly Fortune? This summer will be different. My favorite one. And then my Emily Henry need to go somewhere as well. These are my favorite authors. My favorite romance authors. Carly Fortune, Abby Jimenez, Jessa Hastings, Emily Henry, and then a little bit different, but Elsie Silver. Dolly Alderton, I feel, is very similar to these ones up here. So whatever I decide to do up there, Dolly's going there. Have a drink every time I say okay. Have another drink every time I say it's so hot. What else have we got? I have a bunch of just random books as well that I don't know where to put. They might go down here. I actually really want to read Everyone We Meet on Vacation? People We Meet on Vacation, I think that's what it's called, by Emily Henry, because I haven't read that one yet, and I haven't heard great things, but I do want to read it before I watch the movie, because the movie looks amazing. If you guys have read it, let me know. Let me know if I should bother. And then TBR will be here, which I don't know if I'm going to love because it's going to look really mismatched. I did at one point separate my TBR, fantasy TBRs and non-fantasy, but that just got a bit hard because then I felt like I had like 2 shelves worth of space for TBRs, and suddenly I was buying more books for both, which I should not be doing. So I'm gonna get the rest of my books up that aren't in my TBR, and then the TBR being last, I think is good because then I can kind of talk about all the books that are on my TBR. Read many thrillers, and when I do, I usually read them on my Kindle. So if you guys have any thriller recs, let me know because I do enjoy them. One of the best thrillers I've read was Sometimes I Lie by Alex Feeney. That one was so good. I read that last year, I think. Yeah, I want to read more, but I never know where to start, and I hate when they're predictable in terms of the plot line. So this is what we have left to work with. This is the TBR. As I mentioned, I bought Hamnet because I want to start reading more classics this year, so that is on the TBR shelf. We also have The Picture of Dorian Gray. This was a book club book of mine and I didn't read it, and it's so short, it's such an easy one to tick off, so it's going there. I've got Cleopatra and Frank. It's a literary fiction about a marriage of convenience. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. So I really want to read that. I've heard really good things. I also have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. A bit intimidating because it's so big, but this will be the year that I read it. I have The Virgin Suicides, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and Beautiful Wherever Are You by Sally Rooney. The Night Circus, Bad Blood and All In, which are part of the Natural series. It's like a YA crime series. A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. I have started to read this, but I think I'm going to restart it. Leather and Lark, which is the second book in a rom-com serial killer book. Very interesting. I'm reading that. Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. Pride and Prejudice, another classic I want to get to this year. I have Vicious by V. Schwab. I've loved every book I've read by V. Schwab. She's one of my favorite authors. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Sky Shape by Alex Astor. That's the third book in the Light Lark series. Fearless. I don't know if I'm ever going to read this. I really stopped enjoying the Fearless series. I think it's time that this just goes on my bookshelf with the other books in the series. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. I have had this book. This is probably one of the longest books I've had on my TBR, and this year I'm going to read it. A Little Life. The most intimidating book ever, but I do definitely want to read that. Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. I really love Olivia Blake as an author, so very excited. Apparently this is very similar to Succession with magical elements, which sounds very interesting. Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. Zach bought me this version for Christmas. It's the special edition and it looks gorgeous. We have a random Elle Kennedy book that I've not picked up yet, but it's on my list to read. God of the Woods. I want to start this one again because I did start it. I got 77 pages in, but then I just stopped reading it. So I want to pick that one up again. The Lying Life of Adults, which my friend actually got me for Christmas. Oh God, I want to say 2 years ago now, which is really sad. I do need to read it. I started reading it. It's actually based in Naples, which is somewhere that we will be passing through on our Europe trip. So I definitely want to read that soon, actually. The Prison Healer. Heard really good things. I want to read that. Don't know if these are going to start fitting. Maybe the rest of my TBR can go here. Okay, and last but not least we have Lola in the Mirror by Trent Dalton. I really want to read that. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Lights Out, which I have started but I have not finished. And last but not least, the most intimidating book on my TBR, Alchemized. Look how big that is, but this version is so pretty. Like, it is the most stunning book that I've ever seen. So I will be reading that at some point as well. I think the lights disappeared. Okay, I'm so happy with my bookshelves. Thanks guys so much for watching. I hope this motivated you to clean up your bookshelves as well. My TBR is looking, I'm not gonna say it looks much more achievable because there's so many books on there. Let's count. 30 books. That is the number of books I read last year. That's scary. So it's not feeling more achievable, but it is feeling cleaner. And that's what we want going into 2026. So I hope this motivated you and I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you for my next video. Bye.